Well now, most people don't remember how Old Town got its name. That just seems to be what it was always called. Mek Ville? Now that is one I can tell you about. First, it was called Ironton, for convenience sake, if nothing else. When we started making those cloth belts, some even tried to make Belton the accepted name of the place, but that didn't last long. It was the machine shop that really settled things though. With that built, we were able to make powerful and efficient harvesters. Those are where we get our town name from. Mek Ville is where the first harvesters were made and used, and we're proud of that fact. Hello everyone and welcome back to Factory Town for the 5th episode. And can we all just agree that Nebula Bomb's little story there on how this town got its name was just wonderful. So wonderful, in fact, that is the name that we're going to be using. Mek Ville has been born. So yes, we have we've lost the name of Ironton and we have found the name of Mek Ville, and I've made a little lit signpost on the approach so people know where they're going. I couldn't write anything fancy like welcome to Mek Ville because unfortunately it just doesn't show anywhere, and then even in the label it doesn't show up properly, which is a bit of a shame. Hopefully we can hopefully the dev can adjust that a little bit so it's a little bit more functional, a little bit nicer. But I think that is perfect for this little town. So first and foremost, thank you so much to Nebula Bomb for that wonderful, absolutely lovely comment there, and thank you to everyone else for commenting with your suggestions as well, and just comment in general on addressing any mistakes I may have made or things I may have overlooked, or for those of you who are very new to the game and have been asking questions. It's been lovely to read the comments lately, and obviously from the YouTube algorithm side, I'm not going to pretend like that elephant isn't in the room. It is very good for the series, so I wanted to add an extra note of thanks for that as well. So yeah, thank you very much. Now, in today's episode, as you can see, we've got iron plate production up and running again. So I think it's probably time that we look at setting up some steam. Now, the thing with steam is we're going to need steam pipes. Something that we have not been producing. Our steam pipes, yeah, they're made with a literal steam pipe. So we're going to set up an industry just to make those. Now, they're made in the machine shop, so we're going to need another product to be made. Now, should we put it down in Mek Ville? I think we probably should, but we are starting to run a little bit shy on space around Mek Ville, I fear. Let's have a look at the overall recipe for making these pipes. It's just 2 iron plates. So again, chonking into all of those dwindling iron supplies that I'm not best happy with, if I'm honest. Is there anywhere we could possibly set it up around here? Maybe a little iron supply, maybe across the lake, or across the well, a little bit of a river down there. I guess it is technically a lake, but we could also deposit it somewhere else. Maybe a little steam, more of a tinker town. That might be right. I mean, Mek Ville has a humble and rather wholesome beginning. I quite like it, but maybe we also need a place where we're going to get into the more innovative use of technology, with steam power, and maybe even arcane. Maybe we're not going to have the nature town and the industrial town. Maybe we're going to have a Magitech town this series, an amalgamation of both. And if we did, then this would be a perfect little place for it. We're going to start using steel in large quantities, so I'm thinking maybe this would be a good idea. So a third town then. A third town for preparing steam. I like it. All right, so what we're going to need then, we are of course going to require a few buildings first and foremost. Since I intend to use our drills for all of this, we're going to have 2 silos, one there and one there, and later on we're going to upgrade to mines. This would be a perfect place for them, actually. Do we have... where would mining be? We would need railways. Well, maybe this is a good place for that. Ooh, I hadn't considered that, because railways aren't going to take us too long, and mining is also going to be red coins. That seems like a very good idea. Yes, we'll aim to have, by the end of this episode, a functioning mine taking care of gathering the resources. But for the time being, we are going to be using the harvester drill. So let's pop 1 and 1. There we go. You can bring coal across from there. You can bring iron across from there. And we shall dedicate these silos to their respective product. There we go. And you know, while we're setting that up, actually, it just occurred to me, we've got a fishery, and I haven't even set that one up. So let's just leave them there to fill those. They're going to fill that hopelessly fast. There's absolutely no reason for me to go all the way over here to do this, but oh well. Right, we are going to want ourselves a little fishing area, and why not have this kind of offset, maybe? I'm thinking a little bit offset makes sense. It will result in one of those fish, unfortunately, being destroyed, and that does pain me a little bit. These workers can return to the worker pool for now. I'm actually going to drop the terrain just a little bit, and this time I'm specifically going to drop the terrain. There we go. That'll look nicely. We'll just shunt this over a few spaces there, and then I can drop this a little bit further because I feel that the fishing pier does deserve to be a pier. So I want a bit of space between this and the barn, and perhaps even I could store it into a barn from now on. Yeah, I kind of like that idea, if I'm honest. Let's go ahead and move the fish into a barn. So let's move that right across to the side there. This little bit of coal here, not necessary. I pale at the idea of deleting such a valuable resource as coal, but we need the space. So let's go ahead and build ourselves a barn that we are going to dedicate to the function of fish. Of course, it helps if I haven't got roads in the way, but, you know, me plan ahead and never perish the thought. There we go. Right, if you could do me the service of moving this fish into the barn, then we can get rid of the crate without sending a bunch of fish to the base. There are going to be some fish in the base already, unfortunately. That's just the way it's going to be. We just need to live with it. Right, so that's all set up. Marvelous. Let's go ahead and now set up our little fishing pier. So we'll dig that away. There we go. And then we want the fishery. Where are you? There we are. And if we rotate... Now, the thing with the fishery, if we just place the building, you'll notice that the front door... you know what? I don't mind that front door pointing this way. It seems to make sense as is. But I feel there should be a little bit more to this. A little bit more. So let's go to structural blocks. Let's build some wooden bridges just out and around the corner there. There we are. I like that. Then we can have a little lamp as well. I feel making piers, I don't know why, but it's honestly just fun to do. Probably more fun than any of the other building projects in the game. I don't know. I just kind of, I'm drawn to the idea of making picturesque little piers that our fishes can work from. And we'll add that crate over here, but it's going to be purely decorative from now on. We will have the crate just about there, and we'll even have a bench for the fishermen while they're waiting. There we go. We'll go grab... actually, we'll move the crate back a little bit. It can sit there, and the bench can sit right behind it, and I think that will look absolutely darling. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Little fishing pier. The fishery should be producing fish, of course. Now, this is going to cost red coins, but it's fine. Once the capacity is full, then it should be all okay. Now, we could have that automatically delivered to the barn, I suppose, and there is a certain appeal to that, actually. Sure, we will use a conveyor belt to do that one, though. Let's shove that across just a little bit, and we can have a cloth conveyor right about there. And we obviously don't want people messing around with the fish as it's being conveyed, or necessarily seeing it, because it's probably not the nicest sight. Let's be perfectly honest, especially if it's particularly hot that day. Yeah, let's just try and shield our peeps from the grim reality of fish being moved along a massive conveyor. And set up a little grabber as well. There we go. Donk. Perfect. And just for the sake of it, we'll set that up to move the fish directly. There we are. Marvellous. Now, with all of that done, we can resume the deliveries of fish to the kitchen. There we go. That will be perfect. And we'll have a nice stockpile of fish as well for later on, because we are going to be using that for our apothecary. Now, how's the learning going? Going very well. We'll have mines set up in no time at all. To that end, we'll probably need to drop the harvester drill and the two harvester drills actually really soon. I was not expecting that, but I'm not against the idea either. Right, we are going to need a forge. Let's go and find you. There we go, a little forge right down here. And it's going to be a fairly simple little process here. The only thing you're making is iron plates, please. And thank you. And we can get a chute to deliver the coal and iron directly down. Now, iron is going to be something we're always going to need more of, I feel. Always. To that end, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this barn straight away. And I'm also going to create a second barn purely for the storage of iron plates. We are always going to need more. When we need more, we're going to need a lot more. So let's go ahead and sort that problem out right now. Now, I'm going to have a side loading belt there rather than one going straight into the barn, because of course I'm going to use a pusher there to force it into the barn first. All right, let's set that up for iron plates. There we go. Lovely. And then just a little bit down here, we can set up our our machine shop for producing the steam pipes. That can live right about there. I think that will be fine. And we can have that one delivered straight in. There we go. Now, we want this to be producing steam pipes in fairly large quantities, I would say. And once again, we are going to want another barn. Now, this one is probably never going to need to be quite as vast as the iron barns, where we've got two separate iron barns for that purpose. But we are going to want a whole barn for it, because when I do want to lay down steam piping, I'm probably going to want to lay down a lot of it at a time. So yeah, I'm going to say 200 steam pipes. That's a nice buffer for the future. I think that would be really, really quite wise of us not to overlook how much I am probably going to be using these. Let's make this a double cobbled road there. Not that we need it, strictly speaking, but I think it'll be a little bit prettier for having it there. And we'll draw that up as well around there. There we go. Now the little forge back here. I think we should add in a little bit of something for that. Now we've got rails, rail loaders, mechanical rail tile. We've unlocked mining, and we've unlocked the item mine cart. Fantastic. Now, we're not going to get down to minecarts just yet, but we are going to need to be producing most of these items. Definitely the rails for the mining. I believe building a mine is going to require rails, so we are definitely going to want to set that up as well. So right now, you're producing, or will be producing, iron pipe just as soon as this place has filled up. Let's go ahead and add a couple of extra workers in here. Let's go with an extra 3 workers seems enough for now. I think that will be plenty for us. Right, I would like another building, another barn, and we're going to want you. We'll have it. Well, we could have them both side by side. Actually, it doesn't seem against what we're setting up right now to do that. So sure, we'll go ahead and we'll have the rails side by side. Put that there to grab the cobbled street. There we go. And this one can be set up for just regular rail tiles. Again, I'm fairly certain we're only going to need the rail tiles themselves to set up the barn. But for convenience, we'll go ahead and we'll bring this along as a elevated conveyor. There we are. I really like that design there. It's so very compact and very, very neat. Right, let's pause that there. Just that you can either like rotate it the wrong way and then set up the filter and then rotate it back, or you can just pause it and then let it go. Right, we will set up the construction of rail now. Rail tiles. That's going to require stone and it's going to require planks. Well, okay. Well, there's oops. We want both of these, please. There is stone, and there are trees nearby. Now, I would like to pretend that this was all a part of my cunning plan the whole time. No, it wasn't. It absolutely wasn't. I'd completely forgotten these were going to be requirements. Silly me. However, I don't think we're easily... A mine here will be able to hit both of these easily. Later on, a mine here via mine shafts will be able to hit all of these resources, even the ones over there, perhaps. But the initial mine will only easily be able to gather these. So we are going to need the harvester drills to tend to our stone requirements. And that's fine. We're also going to need a forester around here as well. In fact, we've got so much stone here. There's a part of me that wants to put the forester kind of dug in here and filtering out some of the planks to a mill. And the stone can be passed along to a mason, and I like that idea, but we are actually starting to get close to the point where we're going to need some more pop. And there's a little bit of me that feels that I do really want at least one level 4 house in Old Town. So let's go ahead and upgrade one house to level 4 in Old Town. Pop. There we go. Look at that. Attic conversion get. And look, their windows are different as well. They've got full-on glass windows now. Are the others glass? Are they glass, or are they just open? No, they look like they're open. I wonder why their glass is blue. Maybe it's just more refined. Maybe it's a more refined light, or perhaps they have upgraded to a different sort of light source. They're now using water candles because they don't fear any monster spawns. Well done, you. The others are just using regular old oil lamps. Okay, how are we going for research? We're going to be a little ways off. That is an expensive research, that one. It's going to take us a bit of time to get all that. The way we could actually send the planks from over there, but no, I think it would be nice to have things all kind of neatly placed in here. Now, the thing with destroying resources in here, now, again, it is going to vex me a little bit to be doing this, especially because I'm going to have to carve a path for the chute to take the logs out. But underground, there is still a deposit of stone. I can show that by going to the mining overlay, and you'll see there is still stone down here. It's just the surface stone that is gone. Now, those are enormous deposits, to be sure, that we've just gotten rid of, but we will probably not be using the stone at a particularly high speed, so I think we're probably okay. Probably okay for now. There we go. We'll just set up this little forester and draw this out. We don't strictly need that one there. That's fine. And we'll just go ahead and start you delivering some wood. Now, at this point, we don't need these logs to be stored anywhere, so we don't need any kind of barns or anything like that. But if we were afraid of there being kind of burst consumption, so asymmetric consumption, whereas most of our buildings consume things at a fairly steady pace, certain ones, for example, the plank production, they will consume lots of logs suddenly if I build something and I use maybe 200 planks in one go. Well, suddenly my plank consumption kicks into gear and it starts pulling it. Now, if we were producing just slightly less, because there were large downtimes where once we filled up our storage barns, we didn't really need to constantly be producing more, and having multiple foresters is taking up population that I could use elsewhere. You can use silos as a buffer. So, for example, to give you an example, let's go ahead and let's say if I wanted to do something like this, I could pop a silo just in line like that. This silo can store an extra 100 logs. And then should anything down here suddenly need a burst of logs, then they'll start providing it. That's completely surplus to demand for this setup because we are overproducing the amount of logs we've got. But actually at that point, we can probably pull down one of our foresters there and we'll probably be fine. But this will be able to stockpile the logs for sudden bursts of consumption. Whereas somewhere that uses a constant supply of fuel will use a constant supply of logs. Again, planks, once you've built them up, they stop needing it, so you only really buffer the amount of logs that's on the chute. But by putting a silo there, you give yourself just that little bit of extra production. It's kind of like having a battery with your solar panel. Right, now we want a lumber mill, and we'll just tuck that in right about here. I think we'll be fine. There we go, and we can get rid of that and just lead these down. There we are. We want you to be producing planks. Please and thank you, and just keep producing those for now. Next up, we're going to want a stonemason. And we can have the stonemason right about there as well. And I want you to be producing stone bricks. There we go. Perfect. Now, it's at this point we definitely want a silo and a chute. This one will be purely for stone. There we go. And once again, we don't need that grabber. We don't need to not have it either, but we'll get rid of it for now. Let's have a look. We're about halfway there. So I'm going to err on the side of caution. Which of these is probably going to be using the least? It's going to be the coal that's using the least. So I'm going to repurpose the coal harvester drill. Can you get down there? Can we get you to get over there? There we go. I would like you to move stone into the silo. Oh, you're not willing to do that for some reason. Why is that then? Have I set this up the wrong thing? No, that's stone. This is stone. How peculiar. Can you get back here at all? Yes, there we are. Let's see. Can I get you to... Have you got... Oh, you're full of coal, of course. My bad. All right. Well, rather than waste this coal, go ahead and just drop that off there for now. That being said, I could just delete it and it would get shunted over to the base's inventory. I'm fairly certain, but we'll live with the coal just being dropped off there. There we go, it's all gone. Right, now you can start moving that stone across for me. Perfect. I am going to just adjust the terrain very slightly. I don't want to have too much of an adjustment here. Just take that edge back a little bit. Right, now with that done, let's go ahead. That door is slightly offset. That does distract me quite a lot, actually. Ouch. It hurts. But it'll have to do. Right. Okay, so we're producing the logs. We'll be producing the stone brick. Now we need to deliver both of those over here. Now, how are we going to do that? Now, one of the obvious ways is to have a conveyor chute bring from the lumber mill and the stonemason over there, and we can definitely do that, but how would I prefer to get it into the back here? That's the question. I could have them come along over here across the top of this conveyor, or I can have them arrive over here instead, and I think I prefer this option. Now, again, I am actually going to remove one piece of coal. I know I keep saying, let's not delete things when you don't need to. And then I'm like, oh, but I'm going to delete it now because aesthetics. Look, if you weren't already aware, form before function is the rule of the day on my channel. Always has been. And if that hurts, I am terribly, terribly sorry. Don't think that I do it intentionally. But I'm also not going to change. So I hope it only hurts a little, is what I'm going to say. Let's drag that out over there. There we go. If this was Dark Aavak, of course, then I would just have a spaghetti of conveyor belts going whichever way was the most efficient, and damn how it looks. But we're not drinking coffee today. We are drinking tea. Right, let's go ahead and deliver those planks. In you go. There we are. Now, I think we can have one more layer. I hope we can have one more layer. We will see. This is going to have to be delivered. Sure, we can have this one delivered directly from the lumber yard. There we go. Lumber mill, rather. You know what? Since I am going to want people to be able to, or rather the wagons and such to be able to move underneath, we'll set that up. There we go. This should be set to move planks and only planks. However, once again, as we were just talking about, we are going to use an asymmetric delivery. So about here, I'm going to say we're going to break that down. I'm going to have a single silo. Now that silo isn't automatically going to pull because it's the front door of the silo is on the ground. So we're going to need a grabber over here. So let's go ahead and set that up. There we go. And set this one to care about planks. There we are. Lovely. And this can come out through there. I am going to want this to hook up to the cobble street down here. I think. Yeah, let's make it so that our meeples, should they want to wander around, can do so with relative ease. There we are. We'll even light their way for them, so that those dark and dreary nights are not quite as dark or dreary. There you go. Little lamp there on your approach. Right, so that's one silo delivering all the way to the machine shop. Perfect. Now we just need those stones. Are we actually... Oh, yeah, we are filling the barn up with steam power. Oh, that's fantastic to see. So we should, hopefully, have that up and running in this episode. Right, let's go ahead and once again, all the way across, we want to make sure that it's completely possible for our meeples to be able to walk there, if I should ever tell them to. I am going to have to drop the train by one more block, and I hadn't intended to, but that's fine. Then we will pipette across a silo. Is that silo set up for planks? Yes, it is. Good, good, good. And this one can be set up for stone bricks. Perfect. And there we are. All the way. Actually, I need that one to have... Wow. The time I needed it to have it, I didn't set it up. I need to drag the conveyor so it sets up a grabber for me. There we are. And stone bricks. Perfect. Now, at this point, I'm going to want my my stone bricks to elevate. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to deliver them this high on the side. The problem with most buildings is most buildings can only accept or deliver from 3 tall. It may be possible for the machine shop to deliver from 4 or 5 tall, as the case may be. So how about we attempt that? I think we should. Let's go ahead. Well, we'll need a little bit more run up, actually, if we want to do that. Because we're going to need to come up by 2 to get on top. That's a bit of a shame. Okay, we're not easily going to be able to do what I was intending there. But what we can do is just bring it over here instead. Basically, if you're wondering why I was umming and ahhing there, I do apologize for not making it as clear. You need clearance of 1 level so you don't block the passage of the items below. And now I've done that, I need to completely remove the conveyor belt in order to place it back. So this is a little bit too close for me to be able to simply go up on top of it. But what we can do is we can do that over here instead. And that should be fine. Now, I need to have it this tall to see if it'll work. Something like this will do nicely. There we are. And then we'll build up to that height about here, I'm thinking. As soon as you're out the way. Thank you. There we go. And a ramp. And then the same down here as well. And a ramp. And finally, we are on the right level. Perfect. Now the conveyor belts are going to have no issue going up the ramp, so that's going to be fine. The only question is whether they will be able to be accepted by the machine shop from that height. We're about to find out. We're for sciencing it, everyone. Set this up for stone bricks. If not, then I already have an idea to be able to make that work out. But that actually looks quite nice, I've got to be honest. Now, the big question is, can it accept? Oh, it doesn't. That's a shame. That is a shame, because that would have actually been pretty cool. I think that would have looked really, really awesome. The machine shop is quite a large building, so it kind of feels like it should be able to, if I'm honest. But, well. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. All right, okay, let's pull all of the ramps down. We're not going to use any of those. And unfortunately, I now need to remove all of those conveyors just so that I can get that to work. However, what we're going to do here, it's going to be fairly simple for us to correct that problem, and that is we're just going to have the planks deliver along this route, like so, and the stone can deliver along this route, and it can just remain on that layer. It's not quite as visually striking, I know, but it's fine, I think. We can live with it, certainly. There we are, and are we 1 layer too low? We are 1 layer too low, my bad. My bad indeed. Oh, that probably would have allowed me to have gone up on the on that conveyor belt anyway. No, we are at the right level. Oh, I see what it is. That coal there is a little bit higher than the one below it because it's on the incline. So it's gonna look a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna have to remove that, unfortunately. Oh wow, we're decimating the coal over here. We're not really decimating at all. There's enough coal easily to take us to the point where we're going to be able to sustainably mine it forever. But still, it does grate on me a little bit before we have mining to be doing that. No, I don't want to pull coal out. I want to pull out some bricks. Thank you. Right, that should now deliver everything we need down here. And at this point, we're no longer delivering. We've gone through all of our coal supplies. So let's have a look. There we are. That will now actually start to work. How close are we to mines? We're still quite far away, actually. That's a little bit surprising. So we are going to need a harvester drill for the short term, just to keep things moving. Okay, well that's fine. Let's get that harvester drill going. But now we are going to be producing railway sections. So hopefully, again, the goal here is to have a mine up and running by the end of the episode. So let's keep our sights set on that. But with all of that going down now, we can start thinking of where we're going to set up our steam power. Now, steam is obviously going to require access to water. It will also require access to fuel. Right now, this mine, I'm probably going to keep that dedicated to the production of fuel and ore for the forge. I could, if I set the mine up a little bit higher up, maybe have two separate coal lines, one going to the forge, and then one heading off to the steamworks whenever we set that up. I like that idea, actually. I think that would be pretty cool. Right, so we want a steam generator. There we go. Rather expensive thing, this. If we bring it down here, then it'll automatically have access to the water, but I'm actually okay with the idea of piping the water over to the steam generator, so we don't strictly need to put it back there. We could even have the steam generator maybe up on the hill. That would actually be kind of cool looking, in my opinion. Whether it would make much sense, I'm going to go with the probable no on that one, if I'm brutally honest. A big old nope. But I like it all the same. We could actually have it down here. That would be fine. But I think I'm going to sink it back a little bit. We'll have the steam generator, a big important building like this, way back over here. And we're going to have a path over to that. We might even need a sign, some sort of very, very bold sign declaring this wonder of modern technology. To that end, we're going to put a little bit of decor around here as well. We're going to get some lamps to make sure that everyone can see this wonderful, wonderful device, because I'm sure people can come from all of the other villages to marvel at this modern wonder. And in fact, we're going to have some nice flower pots on the way up. Maybe some very expensive stone benches. There we go. We're not going with the wooden benches. No. This is a town of great progress. It's stone benches all the way there. There we go. But we're going to have to find a place to put the sign, naturally. And also, we're going to have to hook it up via a bridge, because there has to be a conceivable way that people can come over here and visit. And also go to work, for that matter. Now, what we're going to need. Steam power. We need fuel. We need water. It takes 1 second to produce 2 steam. While the water, fairly easy to do. We just build a well right next to it. So, yeah. That one, easily fixed. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll pop this. Well, we might even end up having 2 wells. You know what? Sure. We're going to say, even if it's actually not the case, we're going to say that this needs two whole wells. Let's go into the fluid overlay. There we go. 1 well, 2 wells. It's going to consume enormous amounts of water because it's going to be generating so very, very much power. Glorious thing it is. And again, we'll probably... Well, actually, you know what? We're not even going to have the usual wooden paths around. We're going to go straight for cobbled paths all the way around. It's that fancy. My lord. It's not fancy enough to have cobble paths all the way around the wells, though. No. They can just have regular wooden paths around the wells. Okay, so we've got our steam generator. We've got our pipes. We're even starting to build up a supply of iron rails, which is absolutely marvelous, I must say. We're producing these at a reasonable pace as well. I'm actually quite happy with that. The forge could do with a little bit of help, and that is exactly what we're going to get to now. So for the time being, we could just set up a quick silo to store a bit of a buffer of coal. Even if we deliver this coal to it via a mine, I think that would be fine. We can have this. You know what? We're going to allow the people at the back to walk the full perimeter of this modern marvel. We're not even going to have a chute blocking them. No. We will allow them to walk underneath a little bridge, but we will need a harvester drill. We are at that point. Is this going to be two? It is two. We need another house then. Okay, well, I think at this point, Mek Ville will probably have... Oh, there we go. Mines are unlocked. Mek Ville will probably have upgraded a little bit. So we're going to upgrade a house. We're certainly not going to have any tier 1s anymore. And we'll reduce the amount of tier 2s as well. There we go. There we are. Mek Ville's population is growing, surging with the popularity of their harvester drill. Patent pending. No, actually, this world has no patents. Copyright. Nonsense. This is an egalitarian society. Everything is equal, and no one has to pay for their food. It's just whether it gets delivered to them. That's a different thing entirely. I mean, you can walk over to the other town and get food if you want. You don't have to pay for it, but it's a bloody long walk. Eventually, I'll give you some sort of rapid transit. I promise. There will be trains eventually, though the trains will bring the food to you. So yeah, actually, you know what? This is like some sort of this is a utopia. No one has to worry. This is a slightly lower tech version of the Federation. Yeah. Everyone has a job. Everyone does their job, not because they have to, because they want to, because it is the right thing to do. Right, we've got coal. Let's go ahead and, well, now we've got the mines. Let's have a look at, have we got everything we need for that? Yes, perfect. We do. So that actually means we don't need the coal harvester drill over here. Let's get you down here if you can. You can just haul into that silo for me. There we are. And you can even head back. I will allow you to drop off the iron you've got first, though. And then once that's done, we'll get rid of you. You can hang tight. No, you can drop it off now. Whomp. There we are. And you can return to the general workforce. Now, with that done, the steam generator is generating steam, but it has no more steam to do anything with. We need to add a steam booster. Now, that's an expensive investment, but adds 50% production speed when the building is supplied with steam power. And this is definitely where we want that. So let's go ahead and set this up for the first steam-powered forge in the Empire. Let's go ahead and draw that straight across there. And now we can supply it underground, or we can supply it above ground if we want that steam look. And I kind of do, not gonna lie. Can I get a steam connector? Actually, we'll probably want the steam connector down here. Thinking about it, let's draw that back a little bit, just so that we've got room to have the steam connectors in the above ground. Also, it's a little bit easier for me to see where that connector is going to need to exist. If we come out of there, we'll pump the connector out. Whomp. There we go. That is now a steam connector, and we can draw out our steam pipes from it. To that end, you know what? Even though I don't really think we need it here, we're going to add it anyway. Pump. And we're going to build up our steam pipe. Now we want this to move up the plane here. How high do we want to take this? About yay high, I'm going to say. Ooh. It may be a little bit of a tricky one, because I do believe we're going to run into the same problems if we've got to deliver it at a certain height. We'll see though. Can we get this? If you hit tab, it'll change the angle that you're interacting with. Yeah, we do need to deliver it at a certain height. Well, that's a bit of a pain, isn't it? Okay, well, let's deliver it over our devices here. We will have We're going to have to come down on this side. Then, oops, I accidentally deleted a bunch of things. That's one problem that I have, is that right-click also deletes items, and it doesn't really care where it's deleting it from. We need room enough to enter this building. That is a tricky one. Because we built everything so close together. Still, let's see if we can't make it work. So we'll bring this back down again. Maybe 2. Oh, it will connect. It will connect. Oh, that's fantastic. In that case, we might be saved. Let me just angle this a little bit better. No. Damn it. Let's use that plane instead. There we go. That's a bit easier for us to see. 2 will do. Womp. There we are. We are delivering steam to the forge. Perfect. Now let's bring some of that steam across as well. Can we deliver the steam to the machine shop? We might be able to. I'm amused that it's trying to accept steam out of the barn. Because, you know, as everyone knows, steam gets stored in barns when you're not using it. But there we are. We've got a pipe full of steam, supplying steam power to our workshops, and that is absolutely marvelous. Now, this one doesn't have anything to do because I've moved the coal away, but we will now set up a mine that should get everything else working. We're going to need to do a little bit of work because we've pushed this back quite a lot more than I had initially anticipated. So unfortunately, again, we're going to have to lose a bit of the iron supply here. But the mine is going to allow us to tap underground sources, so it's a bit less of a concern at this point. So let's draw this back. There we are, something along these lines. And in fact, I kind of like the idea of the mine being but right up against a kind of a cliff face, a more sheer mountain face than usual. And let's go ahead, grab that mine. We want to make sure that it's pointing the right way. We could sit it over there, I guess, but kind of offset it slightly wrong there. But I do want to make sure that I'm getting a good amount of the coal. So having it there will be fine for me. Right, we are going to want you to grab stone and coal. And once again, we're going to have to... we're not actually... There's no stone there. Sorry, iron and coal. There we go. That's being collected. I'm going to want the... Coal can come straight down, I suppose. So let's go ahead and place the grabbers first, just so that this is all set up correctly. One there, one there. We'll have this grabber. Let me make sure I'm selecting the right one. Can I grab just one of them? There we go. I want this one to be iron ore. And then we'll draw out the chute. It only needs to come down and then... the chutes are not happy moving down through here now that I've already built some scaffolding there. There we go. That's a bit better. Now we'll take a turn at this point. We'll just have to rebuild the scaffolding. It's not a problem. There we are. And from there, all the way in. There we go. And we'll have to dig this one down as well, unfortunately. This one can just grab the coal, though. Gets a little bit more finicky to get things in the right spots, but it's fine. Once it's all done, it is going to have a beautiful aesthetic. Now, the problem here is those chutes are actually going to cause an issue with the conveyor belts here. Now, the issue is very easily fixed. We are just going to need to elevate it one extra step. We should be able to have these there, and they should be fine. Yeah, they can still move fine, but we're going to have to go over that little hump there. There we are. But that won't change the speed that the bricks are being delivered at all. Now, can we add a boost? Oh, we can't add a boost to the mine. Oh, that's a shame. I was hoping for a steam-powered mine. That was going to be glorious. Alas, no steam-powered mines in our immediate future. But workers at a mine are much, much more effective. And we're going to go all the way up, because we want this being delivered crazy fast. We're going to go all the way up to 5 workers at this mine. There we go. Now, the advantage of the mine over a drill, because you may immediately be saying, well, the harvest drill was significantly faster than the mine. The mine is not going to... the mine is going to be able to tap the underground deposits. The harvester drills cannot. So I think this should be fine for now. There we go. And in fact, we probably don't even need it to be producing that much. We'll see the coal start to back up. We can drop that down a bit. There we go. We were just overcoming a bit of a backlog there. Okay, now with all of the steam down here, that's marvelous. We can take this steam elsewhere though, and that is what we've been wanting to build up to for a little while. Now, deep mining, worth getting. We're going to need blue coins for that. So let's go ahead and get the steam engine, which will give us the steam locomotive. And at that point, we will finally beat the trains. The whole reason why we're playing this again is because trains have been at that. Well, that's the excuse I'm giving. The reason I'm playing this again is because I bloody love the game. But the skin deep reason, the vestigial reason that I am back here playing this again is so that we can check out trains. But I desperately want to bring steam to the rest of our colony. And one of the first places we're going to pop it is into the kitchen. Now, I very much doubt we can have steam-powered farms. That is a shame. That is such a... Steam-powered pastures? No. Steam-powered mill? We can have a steam-powered grain mill. Okay. Progress. I imagine we can have, yeah, steam-powered lumber mills. That's actually pretty cool. We may actually really want that. Oh, yeah, definitely in the paper mill. Got a steam booster down there. Steam-powered school? No. Man, that is going to be amazing. You know, the little meeples plugged into Steam VR headsets so they can do their learning nice and fast. All right, let's go ahead and bring our steam pipes along. Thankfully, because this is simply where it's popping up. I want to give priority to the production of future steam pipes. But beyond that, I'm happy to bring this down here. Let's go ahead and bring it all the way down there. So if they every now and then these will grab some of the steam out, but as you can see, that's based on the speed that my two wells are able to deliver the water at this stage. So we are being slowed down by our water delivery, and this is why you really want it over on next to liquids down there. But this is fine for now. We will get steam pumps. Ooh, that's a good idea. As soon as we've got that, we'll set up a steam pump down there to deliver the water nice and ultra fast to the steam engines. We will go ahead now and add a steam connector just about here, and come straight out of there and pop another steam connector. Right, we are going to want to hit a couple of these devices. Well, actually, oh, there I was. I was getting all excited for steam-powered schools, and we can't have them. We already checked that we couldn't have them, but I hoped. I dared to dream, everyone. One day we'll have steam-powered schools. Right, let's get steam connector right there. And for the most part, I am going to be connecting the steam in the overworld. I'll take it to where it needs to be via the underworld, via the underground pipes. But once we get there, I just like the look of having these little steam connectors here and there connected up to the buildings. And wherever we do that, we of course need to add some cobble all the way around, because come on, you know, this is a high-tech piece of equipment. Doesn't matter that it's in Old Town. It needs to be properly serviced. Let's go ahead. We're going to get ultra fancy now. We're even going to have stone bridges down here. There we go. For our stone paths. Ah, look at that. Marvelous. Marvelous. Modern technology at its finest. To that end, we need to do exactly the same back here. Actually, it's getting very, very difficult to pop things in down here. Can I do that at all? Can I get it? There we go. And maybe over there. Can I get in there? I might not be able to squeeze in. No, I don't think I can. Alas. Well, you knew I was going to do this. Don't even act surprised that I was willing to break things down in order to place that. There we go. Perfect. Over on that side, it all looks good. Okay, no, that's fine. Right, down here, we now need to hook up the kitchen, and then we need to hook up the grain mill. Ah, technology. Old Town is joining Well, I mean, it's not joining. We don't have a new town. But old town is getting with the times. Makes me a little sad, in a way. I'm not gonna lie. All right, let's get a stone bridge. Pretty much wherever there is an old town and a new town, you don't even need to take bets. I am going to find myself preferring the old town over the new town. It's just the way I'm wired, I'm afraid. I can still appreciate the new town. I'm just not going to enjoy it as much. It's not going to feel like home. There we go. We'll also pop that out there. Maybe we'll have a little area. Yeah, you know what? We'll create a little spot back there for the workers, the steam technicians, to be able to have their breaks. Right, let's go ahead and bring these pipes down. Now again, this is why we need so many of these pipes available, because we're going to be using them an awful lot. We will bring this straight down underneath these buildings, but we are not going to connect them up to these buildings. It'll just run underneath. If I absolutely need to, I suppose I could, but I don't really think that we need it on those particular buildings anyway, so we'll probably avoid it. Let's pop one down there, and we can just bring this steam power then all the way down. We can just have a nice little branch there. There we go. Perfect. And now that I've already designated these areas, I know exactly where I need to pop the steam connectors. Not that I had much trouble working that out anyway. There we are. And we just want to bring over the steam pipes. Or take it straight through the window. Sure. I'm certain the cook is not upset about that at all. There we are. Marvellous. Getting with the times. Look how fast that's going now. Perfect. Extra 50% there. And yeah, we'll add a little bit of something down here. Let's go ahead. A lamppost first and indeed foremost. Well, yeah, we'll have 2 lampposts, in fact. Very bright little area. Once again, as this is for our steam technicians, we need them to have the stone benches, and behind maybe some flower pots as well. Maybe a flower pot here and there, and you know, let's give them something a bit different from just flowers. We'll give them some trees as well. We'll make these pear trees. There we are. It'll look lovely once those pears are in season, and they can pluck fresh pears from the tree to enjoy the wonders of Old World. There we are. Old World, Old Town hospitality. It'll be fantastic. Now, there's so many buildings over here I'm going to want to hook up to steam power. My goodness. The forge, chief amongst them. The machine shop, second. That on that note, would the stonemason be able to... Ooh, stonemason would, but does it need it? Not really. It doesn't really need it. Let's have a look at the steam pipes. It's almost backed up again. Actually, that being said, we are consuming that steam crazy fast. Yikes. Let's go ahead and have a look at the school. How close are we? We're not that far off being able to get the steam engines. That's going to drastically improve the delivery of water to the steam generator. And that's going to be very, very important. Very important indeed. We will hopefully be able to set that up soon. And I think for this one, I'll likely have the fluid pipes above ground as well, just to really demonstrate the industry that's going on. But we are pushing up against our worker capacity once again, and I am a little bit shocked and surprised to see that. So, especially because for so long we were pulling it down, but I guess a big part of that was the invention of the wagon and the harvester drill, of course, Mek Ville. It was instrumental in the modernization of our workforce and labor saving. But I think we're going to need some more houses, and where better than our new steam-powered town? Will every house have a steam pipe? Yes. Will every house be able to use it? No. Doesn't matter. They're going to have a steam pipe. They can have personal saunas. Yep. Every house in this town is going to have saunas, steam-powered... what else would steam... they don't do the cooking because they get that from a kitchen. hot tubs. Yeah, they can have jacuzzis powered by steam, and they're not going to have food yet. We're going to need to expand to give them that. But all of the mod cons, it's going to be marvelous. They'll have steam-powered radio. We haven't gotten to radios, but eventually we'll get the magic transmission, and at that point I can only assume that someone's gonna be using it for a radio. So let's go ahead and plan out our homes. We are going to want, we are at our house capacity. Woohoo! This gives us a reason to upgrade the base to level 4. Oh, that's marvelous. Okay, we'll drop 250 red coins, 40 iron plate, and 40 stone brick. Boom, there we go. We can now build 4 more homes. We have unlocked the apothecary. And we can now research medicine. That is going to be a big thing for us. I'm straight away going to place down the apothecary for you, just to show you how that's gonna pan out. The apothecary right down here, much like all of the other market buildings. But this is where you would sell bandages, poultice, medical wrap, fish oil, ointment, so on and so forth. And we're better to have this than over here. We're going to have a steam-powered apothecary. No, it's not going to be steam-powered, but in our dreams it is a steam-powered apothecary. In fact, that we don't have fish down here, but a fishery will fish from water. You don't need the surface fish for a fishery. Although we have it over here, it's completely unnecessary. So yeah, we could this town will have access to medicine. Oh, how modern. Marvelous. Next you're going to tell us they've got toilets. Crazy. They're living in the future. Right, let's go ahead and set up our homes. So first of all, we're only going to have 4. But of course, these homes are going to be on very, very broad streets, naturally. There we go. All the way up. No wooden side streets for them. No. They're going to have the whole mod con of stone streets. We are going to need to expand, though. I think that's definitely something we're going to be doing in the next episode. Probably purchasing this land for 2k. How close are we? Let's have a look. Steam locomotive or medicine? You know what? As much as we're aiming for the trains, we'll probably unlock both in the next episode. But do let me know which we should go for first. Trains or medicine? Understanding that the majority of that episode will be spent with us then trying to puzzle through that. But the last thing that we're going to be able to do in this episode, I'm just going to tuck the apothecary over here. It's kind of a useless apothecary right now. It doesn't serve a purpose. Not getting anything over there yet. But the last thing we're going to do in this episode is we are going to set up a steam pump, a water pump. Uses steam power to produce a large amount of water. That is exactly what we need. This can 100% be built down here on the water's edge. We might even have 2 of them in time. We will pop this right there. There we go. Now, if you have a look at this, how much does it produce? Water. Rotational movement provided by an external power source. We are going to need a steam engine for that. And steam power, steam generator. So we can produce 2 buckets every second. And if we have rotational power by an actual steam engine, we can have 4 buckets a second. That is crazy sauce. So just delivering steam power itself will give this quite a lot of output. But let's go ahead and find the steam engine in here as well. Where are you? Steam engine. There we go. And I believe we need to point this at the device that's going to be using it. So we would do that. Now, if we have a look here, rotational power, put 1 steam in, you get 2 rotational power out. Or maybe we don't need that connected in that way. Now, this is completely new territory for me, so I do apologize. Steam-powered turbine that spins and supplies rotational power to nearby structures. Maybe it's all structures right next to it. It does have an area of effect. I mean, that would be rather awesome. Not gonna lie, that would be really cool. So we could pop this down here and maybe power 2 of these comfortably. I like this idea. All right, well, let's get that steam being delivered right away. Let's go ahead and grab the pipes. We're going to want steam power coming down here pretty much as a priority, actually. But we'll just bring it down like that and around to there. Now that should spread her out evenly, but as soon as this is properly hooked up, we're going to have so much steam power coming through here, it's not going to be a problem. So let's pop that down there, and then one again. And at this point, that connected is already connecting them. Not exactly what I wanted, I'm not going to lie. Maybe I will draw this back then. Yes, let's have the connector back here instead, so that it doesn't create that unfortunate looking connector there, because it isn't quite the style I was going for there. Right, you want this to come up and across, something like this, and we get this to just kind of sit between you two, perhaps. About there will do, and then sure, we'll bring this across. There we are. Now if we go for the connector, this should, on that side, can I get it on this side as well? Okay, we can't have it connect that conveniently. Very well, that's fine, that's fine. We can pop this back there. We can have a look at this. This is now getting steam power, so it's producing a chunk of steam, of water, but we should, I'm hopeful, be able to bring this across and connect it up here. Can I? No, it doesn't look like I can. That connects. Oh, perhaps I have to deliver it on the ground. Oh. Well, most structures allow you to... there you go. We just needed to be a little bit more convincing in our argument, I think. Perhaps if I remove this connector and in fact that from there. No, it has to be on that level. Fair enough. I don't mind that at all. Let's bring this down by an extra level then and connect it all up. That should be fine at that point. And that may have been why we couldn't have this in that spot. I wonder if we can move that back. I'm not sure that I can. Not sure I can have two inputs. No, that's a shame, but it was worth trying, I think. There we go. No, let's try and get you in position. Oh, now I've just made everything more complicated, haven't I? Yes, I have. That's fine. I'll just use a pipette tool and pop that in. It's fine. It works enough. It is a little bit finicky when you're trying to make very tight connections there. And honestly, I imagine that's just the way it's going to be. You know, you can only get so much out of the engine. But there we are, rotational energy. Is this being supplied? No. It is not being supplied with rotational power. Are there axles or anything like that I can move it with? I wonder. So it might simply be that they all have to be next to each other. In which case, I am going to have to completely reposition this. For example, perhaps if I pop that there, this would then get rotational power from being next to it. Let's rotate that around. Let's see what we can do. I would like to try and get the two of them running off it if I can, but it might legitimately be just a case where you have... It can only power a single thing, but if it was powering a minecart, it might need that much extra rotational energy. Is this getting any? Nope. If I rotate it, will it get any then? We will see. We will see. But for the time being, let's go ahead and bring the fluid pipes out from underneath. I had wanted to deliver them all the way across, but having this set up in this way, it's not making that particularly easy. I might need to play around with the rotational power. Oops. Once again, right-clicking, the bane of my existence in this game. Let's go with the fluid pipes. We are going to connect it. I could connect it out of the ground, or I could just run it down there, and I kind of like the idea of running it down there. But let's have some bracing for that. So something along these lines. And we'll have the pipes run along this. I think that would actually look quite nice. So a fluid pipe along there, from here. There we go. Then we'll do something similar on this side. This is completely unnecessary, but I like the idea that these pipes are being supported. All of the other pipes are next to something, so it seems to make sense that that would be the case. But this one is now running all the way down there. I actually quite like that. Now, if we have a look at these, is this providing rotational energy? It really doesn't seem to. No, that's a shame. Maybe I'm going to need to set that up in a different way. But for the time being, then, we'll just slide that back over here. We'll get rid of that connector there. There we go. And this pipe can simply come all the way down here and should work out for us. There we go. All the way over there. Now, issue here is we're probably going to run into the same connector problem in that only one of them is going to be able to point the right way. So for the time being, we'll be rid of our hopes and dreams. We'll delete you for now. Well, progress comes at a cost. Learning is that cost. Right, let's get the connector. If we could, I would love it if we could get it to just pop out at the right level. It looks like we can. There we go. All of that water being sent down, and we should be able to see now in the steam overlay loads more steam being produced. There we go. Now down here, that will hopefully start backing up, but right now it is not at all backing up. Not even slightly. We may actually need more steam power to be able to run that. I had not anticipated that. That being said, yeah, we're producing 2 every 1 second no matter what. So that's the limiter. I thought it was the water, but it is not. So, well, okay, well, we'll just add more people to it and solve the problem that way. There we go. All of the steam, all of the time. But at this point, we no longer need these wells, so we can happily be rid of them. There we go. If I just select them properly. There we go. And there we are. Water is being delivered by steam to the steam turbine. And then that is generating all the steam that we need. There we are. Everything is now backed up with steam. Perfect. I don't believe steam can be stored. There are no like steam tanks as per games like Factorio and the likes. But maybe in the future we'll see that. But for now, let's just pop that back down. And we'll see if this can help out in any way. Oh, there we go. Oh, it was probably that the output was full. And so this was not kicking in. If I pop it over there, will that still be... It is still delivering rotational energy. So it will work as I had hoped. Oh, that's fantastic news. That is absolutely fantastic news. Okay. It was such a hodgepodge. I'm so sorry for that. Usually I am a little bit more knowledgeable about the game's mechanics, so you don't have to watch me puzzling things out in that way. I hope it wasn't too terribly distracting there. But with that, I think we're good. The steam generator is not using up this water faster than we're generating it with one pump. So we're not going to worry about that, I don't think. So we'll just leave it as is. But now we have that water. We could deliver it elsewhere in the world as well. We're delivering it direct over the overworld to the steam generator, but there is no reason why we can't have some of this water just be piped into ground and then delivered to our other water-consuming facilities across the world, all from one place. We could just have a bank of steam pumps, steam water pumps down here, just pushing water to the whole of our town. And I think that idea is really, really cool. But that is it for today's episode. So, as with all of them, I do hope you've enjoyed. Please let me know in the comments whether you want us to focus on medicine and the industry that will be our kind of medical industry, or the steam trains in the next episode. Also, we need a name for our new town, full of prosperity and progress and totally not sucking the lifeblood out of the planet. This is just steam. It's fine. It isn't anyone's souls, I hope. I sincerely hope, actually. And of course, a huge final thank you to Nebula Bomb for that wonderful little story he wrote in the comments, and I warmly welcome any other stories going forward. But that is going to be it from me for now. I do hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you in the next. Do leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Take care, everyone.